Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm Madhulika Sinha, and I'm a student of Data Science October 2025 batch. So, it's my immense pleasure to welcome you all to today's webinar. We are honored to have Milind Jagri sir, a highly accomplished machine learning engineer at Apple, as a guest lecturer. Sir brings with him exceptional expertise across machine learning, data engineering, and large language models. His experience includes working on advanced LMS to improve the relevance of Apple App Store ads, co-authoring research paper for Apple's ad platform and contributing to the core engineering initiatives under Apple Service. Prior to the Apple, Sir has contributed significantly at Ford Motor Company, Acker Inc., and the Cognizant, leading highly impacted data-driven project and innovative across the industry. We are truly privileged to have you, sir, with us today, and I'm sure his insight will be incredibly valuable and inspiring for all of us. A warm welcome to you, Milind, sir. We are honored to host you. Over to you, sir. Kindly share your thoughts and take this session forward. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Madhulika. Hey, everyone. Good evening to you guys. Thanks for spending your Friday evening with me. I'll talk about some of the data science stuff, some basics for maybe 30 minutes, and for then 15 minutes, I can answer any questions if you have. So, without further ado, I'll jump into it. So, I know Madhulika already introduced me, so I'll just quickly skim through that. We will see what is data science, what are key components, and why we use data science to run like experiments. So, we will go through what are the experiments workflow, and I'll give some real world use cases. And at the end, as I mentioned, I'll take some questions. So I am Milind Jagre. That's my LinkedIn URL. If you want to get connected, just drop a note while sending a connection request that you attended this webinar. Without the note, I won't have context, and I accept request only when there is some context to it. So I am right now machine learning engineer. When I at Apple, when I joined Apple, I was a data scientist. So I do have data science experience at Apple as well. And I have been in career for more than 10 years now, maybe 12, 13 years. I do have ML degree from Cornell and an MS degree from University of Connecticut. And I did my bachelor's from India, from Nanded, Maharashtra. My inspiration to get into data science was when I was working in India or even at Ford. I couldn't see my impact in the real world. Like I was doing some data engineering, some data analysis, but that was internal for the team, and I couldn't see my impact in the real world. So I think that was my feedback to my boss at Ford, that I do want to get into data science so that I can see my impact. And that's when I started transitioning to a data scientist. And fortunately, Apple hired me as a data scientist, and I could see my impact in the real world. So the way, like at Apple, what we do, if you have iPhone, you will have Apple App Store on the iPhone, and if you search for an app, you will get an ad on top of it. So our team runs the auction algorithm for that. So it's our job to make sure you are getting relevant ads, you're not getting some offensive or surprising ads, and you have a good user experience. And at the same time, we do have commitments to generate certain revenue. So it's very high pressure, high reward scenario kind of job, but I love it. It's every day I work like 10 to 12 hours minimum. But yeah, it's rewarding at the end of the day. Some of my key projects, as Madhulika mentioned, I did launch a couple machine learning algorithms at Apple, which increased revenue by a few $1 million. I also worked in autonomous vehicle team where we estimated the ETA of autonomous vehicle that was at Ford. And when I was in India, again, I was fortunate to have like good bosses even in India, in Cognizant and Accure. So I was put into really nice data-driven projects where I learned a lot of stuff that I use even today. And I also use some of the techniques I learned during my bachelor's in computer science. So everything that I learned so far in life has been like a good learning for me. And the only takeaway I think if you take from today's session is you should be aware about at least some of the basic concepts in data science. I'm sure 30 minutes it's too short time, so you can clarify some of the things with question, or you can follow up with an email or something. I'll be happy to answer or communicate. So, what is data science? So, it's a intersection between your domain knowledge and statistics. Why I say domain knowledge is important in data science, because whenever you perform some statistical analysis, you should know which area or industry you're talking about. Because if I'll give you an example, if you're talking about whether this particular patient is going to survive this surgery or not, that is a high stake scenario than whether this customer is going to sign up for my email newsletter or not. So domain knowledge is very important. Yeah, it's you should pay a lot of attention to what kind of an statistical analysis you're doing, and depending on how high stakes it is, you can present your analysis. So the life cycle is pretty straightforward. You do want to formulate what problem you're working on. You have to like collect the data to make sure you answer that problem. Not always data is going to be in a cleaned version, so you might want to spend some time on data cleaning, visualizing that data. So the reason visualization is important, because visualization helps you answer questions that you didn't have. So basically, if you want to see if the data contains outliers, if it contains some weird values like age is negative or not, it's very easy to go through that using visualization. And of course, you have to do some modeling and evaluation. But let's say if you are working with a team which has machine learning engineers, then you might want to skip that step and let machine learning engineer take care of the modeling. But yeah, evaluation and deployment and monitoring, that as data scientist you have to do. So key components. So here I'm gonna talk about some of the techniques that we use for doing any data science project. So data engineering, EDA, I think those are prerequisite. So data engineering talks about how to acquire data, how to acquire like new data, how to work with the existing data that you already have, how to like join multiple data sources to come up with a kind of data set that you need for your analysis. Exploratory data, and as I mentioned previously, it includes like visualization and summarizing patterns. See if you have representation from all groups. For example, if you are working with a global data set which has data only for like 90% of the data is for US, then your statistical analysis cannot be applied to global scenario, because 90% of the data is for US. So EDA helps you do that. Statistics and probability and machine learning. So I think I'll spend more time here in statistics and probability. So hypothesis testing, confidence interval, and regression. So what I mean by hypothesis testing is whenever you do any data science project, the first step, and I think this is covered in the next slide as well. The first step that you do is you have to state your hypothesis. What do you mean by hypothesis? In plain English, you can say assumption. So the hypothesis talks about what you expect the output or expectation of the project that you're doing. So there are two hypotheses. One is null hypothesis and another one is alternate hypothesis. So, let's say if you're working on a project for Facebook, and the project is about tell me a particular user will sign up for, Facebook dating or not. So in that case, the null hypothesis will be the user signs up for the Facebook dating services. An alternate hypothesis will be opposite of it, which will be the user doesn't sign up for the Facebook dating. So it's very important to carefully draft that hypothesis and then, as I mentioned, collect the data to support that hypothesis, do some regression analysis on top of it to come up with the p-value, and depending on p-value, you can tell whether you accept or fail to accept the null hypothesis. Confidence interval that gives you, so whenever you present your analysis, you come with a single value. Usually it's a lift, and I'll cover what lift is in the next slide. So that lift should come with confidence interval that it's a range of lower value and upper value that tells you how confident you are in the value that you are presenting. So again, same example, Facebook dating. So let's say you came up with an answer. There is 35% chance that this user will sign up for Facebook dating. And if it comes with confidence interval like -10 to +60, so you can see that it ranges from -10, then let's say this is number line, so it ranges from -10, it goes to 0, and from 0 it goes to 60. So it has such a large confidence interval that you are not confident enough that this 35% value is true. So that's why our job as a data scientist is to bring that range closer and closer and closer, so that eventually it becomes such a tight confidence interval that you are confident on that number. So let's say the other scenario is your lift is 35% with the confidence interval 34 and 36, then you can say I'm highly confident that 35%, there is 35% chance that this user is going to sign up for Facebook dating. So that's what confidence interval is. And machine learning, I'm sure most of there are like these are the types of algorithms you have in machine learning: supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. So supervised is when you have ground truth label. Unsupervised is you just let the model do its job, and reinforcement is model learns on the fly when it's introduced new data. Experimentation, again, at the start, I mentioned, right? You come up with the hypothesis, you say whether the user will sign up or not. So that's the experimentation part, and that's A/B testing where and I'm going to talk about it in next slide. And causal inferences, this is very key concept. It's very tricky to understand. So I'll give you some high level view with an example. So you must have heard this term like um, causal in terms of like causal inference, that cause doesn't mean like causation or something like that. What it means is if something happened, like thing A happened, it doesn't mean that it happened because of thing B. I'll give you an example. I think that will clarify. So let's say there is a um, let's say it's summer, right? And you are working on your prediction model, which predict what's the forecast or if it's going to rain today or not. So sometimes what happen, even in summer it rains. Now your model says it's not gonna rain today. But what happens suddenly in the nearby area, there is some storm brewing up, and I'm sure it doesn't happen in India because there are not too many storms. But in US, some of the area is getting some storms. So, and if there is like high wind, that storm travels to your area and it brings rain with it. So, usually in summer it doesn't rain, but it rained today because of the thing that is happening beyond your control. So it rained not because of your current or local condition, because of the some other external factors, and that is what the causal inference means. So you have to be very careful when dealing with some trivial analysis, and you have to look for these subtle hints in the data and your your analysis to look for this causal inference. Once we have all this down, like, you did your data engineering part, you did EDA, you did some statistical analysis, you did some modeling. Now it's time to like communicate to your maybe engineering team or maybe product team or maybe senior leadership team. So then we use like dashboards to, tell story with your data. And some of the tools or tech stack even I use is like Python. I use Python 99% of the time, and the rest 1% I use SQL. Pandas is like one of the libraries in Python. So if you are working with like small data, then Pandas is a good way to handle it. But let's say if you are working with like big data, maybe petabytes, terabytes of data, then we use PySpark, and it's faster than Pandas because PySpark is distributed. It runs parallelly, whereas Pandas is like sequential and it runs on your local CPU. PySpark you can run on like GPU or something like that. Scikit-learn, Tableau, and Power BI. So Tableau, Power BI, those are like visualization tool which helps you tell story with data. And scikit-learn is like you can run like machine learning algorithm using that library. We also use GitHub and Notebook. GitHub we use for like version controlling. So if you are 3 to 4 people working on the same project, it's important to exchange code with each other. And Git or GitHub is the way to do that. And sometimes we have to run some custom analysis, so we use like Jupyter notebooks for that. So that's what notebooks mean. And moving on, so I do have last two slides. So experimentation framework, I'll spend a lot of time here. And the next one is real world use cases. So I'll quickly skim through that. So experimentation workflow framework. I think if you were paying attention till now, that's good, but you should pay more attention here because this is how most of the companies in the world uh, handle or perform their experiments. And I'll explain what experiments is. But this is very critical thing to know. Even I didn't know it a few years ago. I learned it on the fly. And that's why whenever I talk to someone about data science, I make sure that they know the experimentation framework. So what is experiment? So if let's say you are a data scientist on a team and you want to launch some project or launch some feature, so then you have to run experiment how that feature works. You can't just go ahead and launch it. For example, at Apple, we can't just launch anything in production because it directly affects the users. We spend at least 2 months. So let's say if there is quarter, right? Quarter is 3 months. We spend 1 month on the coding, and we spend 2 months on deliberating, convincing people why it is a good idea. And also we can just like explain in words, we have to come up with data, so we generate a lot of data points. We go through that every week to see how experiment is doing, and if it looks good, then only we go ahead and promote it. If it doesn't look good even for like 1%, then we just drop it. So it's very high risk high reward scenario again. So you experiment is you try to do something by launching your code in stage environment, and if it works well in stage environment, then you promote to prod. So that's what experiment is. So the core idea here is, if you have a set of like 100 users in your project or whatever you're trying to achieve, you distribute those 100 users in two groups. One is A group, another one is B group. That's why it's called A/B testing. Um, Machine learning engineers, they use terms treatment and control instead of A/B. So what do you mean by treatment and control? So control is the group of people who don't get that new feature. Treatment is the group of people that gets that feature. So again, I'll give you an example. So let's say again, Facebook, they want to launch a new like button, right? Let's say with two thumbs up like this, instead of just one thumb. So they will divide these 100 users into two groups, where one group of people, the control one, they will see only one thumbs up with the like button. But if you are part of treatment group, you will see like button like this. So, if they are running this experiment, you might talk to your friend, hey, Facebook launched this new feature where you see like two thumbs up, but your friend might be in control bucket. So they would say, no, I don't see it. Maybe it's just you. So that's what treatment and control is. So that way they can analyze whether giving two thumbs up increase the number of posts that you like on an average, and control will be not aware about that. So that way you will be able to measure how treatment is reacting to this new feature, which is two thumbs up, as compared to control, which is not getting that feature. So to do that, what we do is we define hypothesis. Again, I'll take the same use case. The hypothesis is giving two thumbs up increases the engagement of the platform or engagement of the user. That's my null hypothesis. And my alternate hypothesis will be, giving two thumbs up doesn't increase the engagement of the system or engagement of the user. Then we have to identify metrics. So the metric can be, in this case, click-through rate. What click-through rate means is how many times a user has clicked in a week, in a day, or in an hour, or something like that. So for control, that click-through rate might be the same as usual, but for treatment, it might go up or down depending on whether users find this feature attractive or kind of annoying. If it's attractive, they might like more. If it's annoying, they will just not like the post at all. And depending on that metric value, whether that metric value is up or down, we can say whether to promote this experiment or not. Then comes the random assignment. Again, as I mentioned, 50 people will go to control group, 50 people will go to treatment group. So this has to be random. You can't just pick a specific set of people to control and specific set of people to treatment. That will introduce bias in your analysis, and your analysis should be free from bias. Once you assign the users, then you have to collect and analyze the data, and depending on your the confidence interval I mentioned, if they are tight, then you can call it like statistic. Another way to say whether it's statistic or not, at the bottom you will see metrics interpretation, which is p-value, confidence interval, and lift. So for those of you who don't know p-value, it's the measure of how confident you are in your analysis. So generally p-value is kept at, the threshold of p-value is kept at 0.05. What that means, if p-value is less than 0.05, then you are confident and the analysis that you did, it's statistically significant. But if the p-value is greater than 0.05, then it's not statistically significant. You can throw away your analysis and maybe start from scratch. There are other types of testing, like I mentioned, A/B testing, multivariate testing, holdout testing, bandit testing. If you Google, you will get it, but just one word, answer or one word explanation, if I have to give, AB is the one that I explained. Multivariate is when you check multiple effects instead of just one effect. So instead of just checking the double like feature, if you also check, they give comments in now colors, so that can be another feature. So that's multivariate. Holdout testing is you release this feature to one set of users but don't give it to another set of users. That's holdout testing. Bandit testing is you increase the effect of your treatment more and more if you see good numbers. And common pitfalls, as I mentioned, there is bias, novelty effect, and insufficient sample size. So 100 users is too less a sample size for company as big as Meta, Facebook. So for them, number of users might be like, 100 million user, 200 million users, something like that. So this is experimented. So if one thing you have to take away from this project is from this presentation is this experimentation workflow. And last one is some of the real world use cases. You can skim through it, but I think most important is like finance, where we, do scoring for credit cards. So in India, it's FICO score. No, not FICO score, CIBIL score. In US, it's FICO score. In healthcare, we have like predict disease, where a patient can, obtain that disease or not. In e-commerce, such as Amazon, Flipkart, you have product recommendation. In social media, you have spam detection and ad targeting. So basically, I do ad targeting at Apple. And you can, for business, it's cost saving, efficiency gain, and better decisions. So I know I went too fast here, but I'll stop here. And if you have any question, please feel free to unmute yourself. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Hi, Milind. This is Rocky. I'm sorry for the camera. It's not, working for some
That's all
reason.
right.
I had a question. So it's just out of curiosity. So all these testings and whatever that data that you play with, it comes. I mean, how does this decision being taken? Like, do I have to go ahead and experiment this in the world, or whatever it is? Like, for example, the double thumbs up that we spoke about, or the real world scenarios that you were showcasing. So what drives that idea that what I want to go ahead and run this experiment, and that will be benefiting the whole world or something? Yeah,
Yeah,
just
that's a good question. Thanks for asking that. So in big companies, I can tell you like Apple. I don't know about like small companies. But in big companies, we do have a dedicated product team
Mhm.
whose only job is to come up with these kind of new product features.
Okay.
So I work with product team who at the start of any quarter, so for Apple, Q1 starts in October, which was last month. Q2 will start in January. Q3 will start in January, February, April, and then whatever month it is for Q4. So right now we are discussing what we want to do in Q2 so
Okay.
that we can start working on it in January. So the current project that I'm working on, we decided that back in maybe March or April, and we put it so every company who is like has a good structure, they say
Mhm.
they'll put it in backlog.
Right.
And once they do like the quarter planning, they bring the backlog to the whatever you call it, like current sprint or something, and then
Mhm.
we work on it. So it's product's job to come up with these features, and I'm an engineer. So my job is to build that statistical model to uh, to basically implement that feature.
Got it. Got it.
Yep,
Great. Thanks.
good question. Yeah. Sorry, more question. Okay, I think I explained it really well.
You did. It was really, inspiring to know that whatever you're learning is actually being used on the real world scenario. So it's I mean, I can say that I'm heading to the right direction. And
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sorry to cut you off, but that's the only thing I wanted to do in my career. So
yeah.
if you are also like, you want to see how it affects people,
Mhm.
and we touch like, across globally, there are like billions of iPhones. So we touch like 2.5 billion people every quarter whenever we launch it. So that's a big thing to know.
Great. Just wanted to check if you could suggest me some data or visualization or something I should prepare my project on that will give me more idea on how and what I should be, the hypothesis and the tests that are there. So what I should target in the real world scenario as on today, so that I can build a nice project that can actually showcase my the learnings that I have.
Yeah, that's a good question again. So I think you can, so if you are aware about Kaggle, it has a
Mhm.
lot of data sets available, and
Okay.
mostly like they have competitions going on,
Mhm.
and those competitions are mostly like statistics related or machine learning related. So if you at least participate in those competition, you'll get to learn a lot. When I was a student, I used to do that. I didn't like win anything, but the data sets that you get, the kind of insights you get from winners who won that competition, you get to learn a lot of things. So that is
Okay.
one thing. Now, for your specific use case, you try to find what interests you. And if you haven't found it yet, then just go for all the industry. Go for finance, go for social media, go for all the use cases that I mentioned here, right?
Right.
E-commerce. So I think all this data is available. And mostly how I learn these days, I don't have like time to like go through proper course or something. So I just ask ChatGPT or Perplexity or Anthropic, whichever AI you wanna talk to, and it
Mhm.
gives you like on the spot answer. So it saves you a lot of time. So yeah, that's what I do. So if I wanna do, hey, I wanna do some content ranking, right?
Yeah.
So I would say ChatGPT, give me some content ranking implementation, explain it to me if I'm beginner, and give me some sources on the web where I can find the data for content ranking. Or you can ask ChatGPT to mock up some data also. It will mock it up and give you everything.
Got it.
Yeah. All right. Madhulika, do you want to wrap this up if there are no questions?
Hello, Milan. Good evening.
Oh, hey.
This is Swati,
Yes, yes.
co-founder of the company.
Oh, hey.
So, how are you? And thanks for like giving your time to our students as well, because this is, I think, the session will give them many whatever the clarity they didn't had it when it comes to the implementation, when it comes to how that actually works in their particular domain. Because our students had many questions. I think we tried to clear that to the maximum, and I think during the courses and all, they are actually learning as well. I want to understand just it's general common queries of all the students that whenever they want like decided to choose something, as you said, that obviously courses learning is very much important. Because I belong to academics background, I strongly believe in learning. We don't have an end for it. Correct, you will be keep on learning, it will be there. So I want to understand that how exactly right now the recruiters are thinking, or else let's imagine you are like part of the recruitment team as well. When you are hiring someone for your team, what do you think? What exactly that you see in a learner? Is it like people say many students ask us a question like AI is taking many people job, and many students are coming there like particularly from the TCS who got laid off. Right now, I think we are seeing almost 60, 70% students where they have lost the job as well. And So that is what I want to understand, that even though, let's imagine a scenario, I'll give it. There's a one learner, his project went really well. Company got a profit as well. But after that also, and every year company is getting a very good profit with that particular project. But after that also, he got laid off after 2 months. What do you think? Is it just people see the AI knowledge, how good they have it, or else people see their domain knowledge as well? Like, how exactly?
Yeah, that's a good question. Thanks for asking that question, Swati. So I would maybe disappoint you by giving you maybe an ideological answer, but you were right when you said we are hiring. So I am part of recruiting team at Apple. So we hire for, our projects. So I'll answer your question and then I'll answer my experience with the hiring. So, uh, unfortunately, it's not in our hand. These are like, private sector jobs. So it's not like you get job security for life in private sector. That's the harsh reality of it. Second one is I agree with what Swati said. Like you implement a project and it's doing well, earning money for the company, but at the end, it's the company culture basically. If you are following the news, Facebook, even Google, Microsoft, all these big companies who earns like billions of dollars, which is almost infinite money, they are firing people. On the other hand, Apple is hiring folks right now, and the the important distinction there is Apple is very careful when it comes to hiring. It takes at least 6 months to hire one person, and maybe other companies they hire every like randomly or very quickly. So we do a thorough due diligence to hire someone before hiring someone, but once we hire someone we don't let them go. So I'll give you an example. I think a couple years ago we had to uh, there was one team whose job was like was not needed, but instead of firing them, what Apple did, Apple gave them like couple months to find opportunities within Apple, and if they couldn't find it within those 2 months, then that's unfortunate. Now, coming to Swati's question, so I think it's not in our hands, to be honest, and that's the harsh reality. The only thing that is in our hand is regularly upskill and work on projects that use those skills and showcase that project on your LinkedIn or your GitHub or your personal website. That's the that's the most we can do. We cannot, I mean, we can like send LinkedIn requests to like recruiters or hiring managers, but apart from showing what you know and how what impact you bring, I don't think you can do like more about it. And that's my opinion. I might be wrong.
What
Somebody.
Yeah,
Mhm.
what I have heard, even when it comes to the recruiters and everyone, like people will be looking, whoever will be joining their team as well, they're looking them to be productive from the first day. I think projects, whatever the experience and the exposure they get it through the projects, that what makes the difference as well, when it comes to the
Yeah,
jobs.
you are right there because I was lucky and fortunate enough that I got into like only big data and machine learning projects from the start of my career. So my career went that way. If I was working in some other project, that would have turned differently. Um, but that comes with like a company culture. There are like so small startups they can't risk. They are running low on cash and they have hired this person uh, who they thought they promised during the interview that they know this and they can solve all this issue. So that's what the companies who hire they come from. It's both good and bad because I have been on both side. I do give interviews for other opportunities and I'm hiring at Apple also. So I'll give you my experience hiring at Apple. So we don't hire for like technical skills that much as compared to what kind of person this is, how their communication is, and whether they will work good with the team or not. So so we had to let go. We had to like say no to some of the folks who had like PhDs, who had patents, who had research paper, just because they were not good communicator, and they we couldn't see them working well with the team. But that is for a big company like Apple. For small startup who are running low on cash, they would expect somebody to work from day one, at least in some way. That's just how business is, how money goes. Everybody's learning AI these days, and that's good because that wasn't the case couple years ago. Couple years ago, maybe people were just learning regular stuff. Now everybody's learning AI, so that's the shift in the workplace. And I think if you are learning AI, that means it's good. You are upskilling, and you can use that upskill to implement some projects.
Okay. So I have
Mhm.
one thing, like as you mentioned right now, like where we don't see much on the technical whenever the hiring happens and all. I think over here also many students had those prior concern that we are not from the tech, or maybe companies consider those things, and that may be the reason for the rejection as well. But what I believe that what even we communicate with everyone, whomever we speak, the students and all, we always say, have the confidence. Technical, it's not about that. It is about that where how good you are on the particular domain and how good you are a solution provider for the company. I think nowadays, more than following the process, companies will be major concentrating on how this person will be useful, like to solve the problem of the company. Correct. So that is what my one more question for you, like where that can even help the students as well, not to consider that what background, technical background that they have it or not. Like, what do you say on that?
Yeah, and my apologies. I was talking about people who have experience. So I wasn't talking about like freshers or students who are like right out of college. So my apologies there. For students, I think if you're not from like technical background, then uh, the biggest advantage on your side is your domain knowledge from like not technical point of view. So let's say I was working with some others too. So I should mention this, on the weekends or whenever I'm free, I do judge hackathons in like top universities such as Harvard, MIT, and all that. So I do get to see students' project, and most of those students are not from technical background. They do have chemistry, they do have
Biotech,
arts.
biotech,
Yeah, yeah, and they do
aerospace.
use
Yeah.
they do use AI tools to work with at least one person on their team who knows some technical aspect. And as a group of 3 or 4 people, they build that project so that they get to learn how the technology works, and they get to present it, talk about it, and when you talk about it, that then you build your confidence.
Okay.
Yeah,
That,
and I should mention this also. I used to, when I was in India, I used to teach weekend classes as well. So that's why I'm like, I don't want to brag, but I'm good at this explanation stuff with some examples. So I have maybe trained more than 200, 300 students and, working professionals, both weekday, weekends, online, in classroom and all that. I don't do that anymore because I don't have time, but teaching is something I'm passionate about, and I get to learn new things. So the reason I'm explaining that is, if you talk to someone about the project or thing that you did, it will stay with you, and you can basically it will stay with you. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes. So, yeah, I think I'm also from academics background. I strongly believe communication. I think that uh, 20 minutes where you sit with an interviewer, how you convey the things, how well that you can help the business. I think that's what decides like whether the people are gonna fit in for that particular profile which they are basically hiring for. I think that 20 minutes or 30 minutes matters a lot. Even that what I believe. Like you may have any good knowledge and all the at the end of the day, if you doesn't know how to express or how to present or how to convey what exactly the things are and how you are thinking about it, I don't think so. I think that what we have to learn first, where which will help us to land up in our dream job or whatever the dream job that we are looking for. So that is what
Yeah,
I basically personally believe as well, because my profile
yeah.
is where I had a gap of 8 years. After that, I restarted as a fresher. I think
Hmm.
rest is history right now. So many
Hmm.
things I've learned came out of the comfort zone, patience, everything. I think I always used to find in what exactly that is not in the company where I can bring it on, right? So that's what
Yeah,
gave me a better, that what helped me basically to move ahead. So
yeah.
I think which is very much important. These are even certain things which will help us for our success as well.
Yeah, and one thing I would like to mention, so like this, I also gave a talk yesterday or day before yesterday, I don't remember. That was about that was very technical talk. And few weeks ago, I gave this kind of talk to my university, University of Connecticut. And there I mentioned one thing that you shouldn't be narrow-minded when accepting opportunities. So you should say yes to everything. You
Yeah.
don't know which opportunity will land you where. So when I joined my career in US, I was not a full-time employee. I was on contract role, but
Okay.
I took that as a learning opportunity. I built my skills, I built my network, and I used to post a lot on LinkedIn during those time. I did so many projects, like any projects I could find, I did that. And basically, it's a roadmap from like Cognizant as my first job after bachelor's to some startup in Bangalore, then to a contract job in the US, and then Ford full time, and then Apple. So it's a journey. You won't get to like
So
um
basically, I can say over here, like right now, people can see that where you're sitting, but I think the journey and as well as the
yeah,
struggle, I
yeah,
think only it was not an overnight success or overnight thing
yeah,
that has happened.
yeah,
So that is what even I think everyone have that in their past, like the struggles and everything. Like today, everyone see that okay, fine, this person is sitting over here in Apple, this person is sitting in US right now. Arey yaar, how lucky he is. But I
yeah,
think to
yeah,
get that luck or something, the efforts matters a lot, the patience matters a lot, and coming out of the comfort zone, doing something, pushing yourself as hard as possible, which that what
yeah.
will actually move the people towards the success.
Yep, 100%.
Yes, I think, the a reason why I would like, I asked you all these questions, like sometimes what happens, we have seen like people have many questions like this, but people sometimes students doesn't open
Yeah,
up.
even I was shy when I was student asking questions.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So that's the reason I think these questions help the students as well. I think whatever the question I asked, like this was there in everyone's mind, but they couldn't open up as well. I think now
yeah,
they can answer for maximum of their concerns, and right now they can work towards the objective. And hopefully, we will see everyone getting placed, and
yeah,
we will be very happy as well. And
yeah. My best wishes. Yeah.
thank you so much. And guys, if you have anything to ask, I think very good opportunity. Uh, please open up, and if you have any questions, please ask it. If it not, we will wind up.
And stop sharing. I don't know how to do that.
I hope no one have queries. I think Madhulika, you can wind up. Thank you so much, Milan, once again.
Thank you so
Thank you so
much,
much.
Helen,
I really had a
for
great time. Thank you.
yeah, for taking the time to share your deep knowledge and real world experience with us today. Your insight into the machine learning, LLMS, and large scale data system have been extremely enlightening and will ensurely guide our learners in shaping our career in technology and analytics. We truly appreciate your generosity in mentoring us and contributing to our learning journey. On behalf of everyone present here, we extended our heartfelt gratitude to you. Thank you once again. Thank you, sir, for inspiring the an insightful session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. See you.
Thank you.